Hi, this is John Conlee, and you're listening to The Best in Country with Pete Jordan. Hi, this is John Conlee, and Pete will be right back with more Inside Country in just a moment. Hi, this is
Gary Morris, and you're listening to Pete Jordan with more great country. Hi, this is Gary Morris, and Pete will be back with some more Inside Country in a moment.
What were your numbers like at your station you worked for? Great voice.
Thanks.
How long have you been out of radio?
Out of radio since June of '78, since rose-colored glasses hit.
You still have your license?
Well, I let it expire. You don't have to have a ticket anymore in the States, no. Not a third, you know.
That's good. That sounds good. Does Gene Baber still work on radio?
George Baber. George was our road manager, and unfortunately we lost George in an accident back in June in Los Angeles. Yeah, drunk driver hit him. Yeah.
You haven't been, your last album, the latest, you haven't done any of the writing on that?
No. Haven't done any of the writing really since Rose-Colored Glasses, since that album.
Why? Is there a reason?
No time.
Yeah.
And it's not, writing is not that much of a burning desire with me, I guess. When I was writing some, it was when I had more free time, when I was still working in radio, in fact, and had, more of a routine going. And since we've been making a living at what we're doing now, we're gone 2/3 of the time. So if I wanted to do it more, I'd make the time, obviously, but I don't. Singing is the main thing with me.
How heavy a schedule do you keep right now? That's a number of tour days per year?
We do as many as 120 a year. But by the time you count travel days, that's 2/3 of the time.
How long has it been since you've been sorry, go ahead.
That's it. I want to get rose-colored glasses, as you mentioned. How big of a shock was that to you when it hit as big as it did?
Oh,
Was it?
yeah, sure. I mean, you never know. I don't think you know for sure what songs are going to make it and which ones aren't. If anybody knew that, they could open an office and be multimillionaires by just gleaning and previewing records and saying yes and no to record companies. But you have some degree of confidence that it has at least a shot, and I was obviously happy when it made it.
Did you pitch it to anybody else before?
Yeah, everybody in town heard it, essentially, beforehand, and along with Backside of 30, and Backside of 30 was cut by Joe Stampley before we had our recording contract.
But nobody decided to cover rose-colored glasses?
No, which suits me fine.
Where were you when you heard it on the radio first time? Do you remember?
Probably somewhere in Nashville, but the time that I remember the most is driving from Tennessee to Kentucky and skipping around on the AM dial and hearing a station in Dallas play it, and then going to Chicago station and then hearing it as soon as I switched. That brought the point home that it was more than a hit in Nashville. It was just, all across the country.
Anyone with you in the car?
No, I was alone.
You couldn't yell out and say, that's me?
No, I just probably grinned pretty big and kept driving.
Who, if anybody major could record a song that you had written back then, who would you want it to have been?
Ray Charles. Yeah, then or now. Yeah, mine too.
You wouldn't pitch anything to him at all? Have you written songs before that you've got sitting in a drawer somewhere that you're not going to bother using, or maybe someday will come?
Oh, maybe someday. I'd have to go back, and they'd all. The ones we haven't used so far would need polishing, And I've dug them out a time or two and listened, and no ideas for improving them, so they go back in the drawer. But that's what would have to happen probably before any of them would be usable by either me or anybody else.
Have you ever been approached by anybody else to record with them, like Ray Charles or anything? That type of material, or does that not interest you?
That's a question everybody so far has asked tonight, and the duet thing is getting to crazed proportions. And since it is, and since it's becoming so common, I'll probably stay away from it till it dies down a little bit, and then think about it. Haven't done any duets yet with anybody, but it's not impossible. Ray would be a good candidate if he'd be willing, Right, yeah. Mostly other people on CBS. Except for the Oaks, I think, they're on MCA.
So you're happy with the folks you have right now at MCA?
So far, yeah.
A lot of people find it hard to believe when you talk about
Mhm.
Just if you don't mind. Just
An encapsulated view. Born and raised on a farm in Kentucky. We still operate those farms. From there into the funeral profession for 6 years. Became a licensed mortician. I still do keep that license renewed. And from there to broadcasting for 9 years. And then, of course, from there to the music business. So 3 or 4 other things I know how to do to make a living at, to some degree or other.
I'm curious, what got you interested in being a mortician?
Well, I had a good friend who was working part-time there, when we were in high school. We had a folk trio together. He talked about it a lot. He liked it. Enough to get me interested. So my senior year in high school, I started working there part-time. And we also ran ambulance service and everything. So a lot of self-satisfaction to it. You're helping people in the case of the ambulance when they're sick or hurt or whatever. And in the case of the funeral profession, you're there to help the survivors, the families, through what's, for most people, the toughest time they'll ever go through. That was the attraction. After working the year part-time, I got interested enough to pursue it full-time after I got out of high school and got my licenses. It was sort of a diversion because radio had always been a thing I was going to get into from the time I was 9 or 10 years old. And after the 6 years, it was time for me either to get more involved in the funeral profession, to own a place somewhere, whatever, or scratch this other itch. So I decided to break away and try radio for a while and see what happened. And here I sit. Mornings, afternoons, general manager, program director, music director, janitor, all of it. Yeah, no, not that order. Not that order. But like most everybody else who's in broadcasting, you do a little bit of everything, I guess, over the time.
When was the last time you were in the recording studio?
Yeah, the current album, the brand new one. I don't know if you even have it yet. It's just shipping this week. It's called Blue Highway, and the new single "Years After You" is on that album. And I guess we finished it up about 2 months ago, 2.5, as far as my part of it was concerned.
How do you feel about it?
I think it's. I'll leave that up to everybody else. I'm proud of it. I think it's good. If I didn't, you wouldn't be getting it this week.
What's your favorite cut on that one?
Probably Years After You. I think it's a special song. There's another song on that I don't know if it'll ever be a single or not, but it's kind of similar to the In My Eyes cut on the Eyes album. It's special to me because of my relationship with my wife and everything. And it's a Jerry Fuller song called But She Loves Me that's real special to me on the new album. But there are several that I dig on it, a lot.
What does your wife do? Is she working on a farm? Or?
Yeah, we have a 16-month-old baby and a 15-year-old daughter and a lot of farm animals and things, so she takes care of all that, and me.
Yeah. What about coming to Canada? Do you like it?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Have they treated you well?
Very well. We have always done well here, and as I understand it from the label people here, the last year or so, year and a half, our popularity seems to be increasing. Record sales seems to be increasing up here. That's what they tell me. I don't know, maybe it's a line, but yeah, we enjoy it. We enjoy it. We get to come one province or the other. We're across the border maybe 6 or 8 times a year.
Where does country music go these days? On your last album, you went to an old Eric Clapton song called "Way Down South."
Uh-huh.
Did you just like the song?
Yeah, yeah, that's about it. You come across them every now and then that you dig, so you do your own thing with
Have
it.
you got any on the new album?
I don't think there are any. No, everything's pretty much original. The only thing I know of that's been cut that comes to mind, we've got our version of "Radio Lover" on the new album, which Jones had. No, it was never released as a single, so we cut that, and I guess there's some possibility that any of the other 9 cuts could be singles. We usually wait for feedback once the album's out to see, what potential future singles will be. So that's the only song I can think of, though, that's been cut by anybody else that's been heard very much or whatever.
Can you relate to that song?
Yeah.
With your background in radio, do you have any input with MCA as to what songs are chosen?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Have had all along. I think that's necessary. It's you have to maintain a certain amount of control over your own career, or I do, and that includes certainly choosing which songs are going to be singles and which ones aren't.
Would you, as a, I don't know, I guess something to lean against, if the new material ever stopped being good enough quality, would you rely on older songs to bring them back? Try them as singles once again. It seems to be the rage of these days, old 60s tunes.
Well, that's happening quite a bit. That is happening quite a bit.
At least had some success with them. I just wonder if it's not the same.
I think it's viable. It depends on the song. That's Busted's really that's the way it happened with us. Busted is a song that I've been into forever from the Ray Charles version, and we cut it just because we wanted to do it, and it turned out well enough that we then decided to release it as a single because of the economy at the time. It was the dead of winter, and it worked out very well. So sure, I'm not opposed to bringing back old tunes at all.
Rather like for those of us that missed them the first time by.
Yeah, right.
How about I Don't Remember Loving You? Did you like that song the first time you saw it during the concert?
Pretty much, yeah. That's it's a real different tune, a different subject matter for any kind of song. But yeah, that's one of those that kind of grabs the first time out. The new one did the same thing to me. Sometimes you have to hear songs several times before you know whether whether they grow on you or not. And but every now and then you hear some that grab you the first listen. And years after you did that for me, and as I recall, so did I Don't Remember Loving You.
One line that catches me is, please hand me my crayons if you find it.
Yeah, right.
Really fun.
Thanks.
Got a lot of requests for that at the bar I worked at when it came out. That sounded a crazy song. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Taking the time out to
Sure.
do this.
Glad to.
Old girl.